Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TeacherCast Educational Network. My name is Jeff Bradbury. Thank you so much for joining us today and making TeacherCast your home for professional development. This is Educational Podcasting Today, episode number 41. Today, we're going to be talking all about new podcasters, some of the things that you can learn from being a new podcaster. And today, we are going to be diving into what makes a great podcasting website. We're going to give some suggestions for what you guys can do to make a great looking website. Of course, there's several great things that you can do if you are a podcaster or looking to design a site for your own. We love it when you reach out to us on Twitter at Podcasting Today and leave us a voice message over at teachercast.net/voicemail. And of course, email us over at feedback@teachercast.net. If you're a podcaster, we would love to feature you on our show today. And one more time, welcome back. We are so excited to have on not one, but two podcasters from an amazing show called the Tough Teacher Talk Podcast. I saw these guys on Twitter the other day and said, I would love to interview them or have a conversation, I should say. We're going to have a great time. I want to first introduce from the Tough Teacher Talk Podcast, Whitney Choate. Whitney, how are you today?
Hey, I am great. I'm excited to be here.
I am so excited to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am currently in my 8th year of teaching. I am doing high school special education, and then I am also a part-time instructional technology specialist or coach. And I wear many hats in my district, and I love what I do. And I have a lot of kind of side hustles and different things relating to education. And then Jonathan and I have kind of teamed up on this. And so, I'm just always exploring new avenues and different things in education. I love it.
Well, welcome to the show today. And with that, I want to bring on Jonathan Compas. John, how are you today? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing fantastic. I just want to say thanks for having us.
It is so great to be here. John, tell us a little bit about yourself and how did you get roped into doing this?
All right, so I teach kindergarten. This is my 6th year teaching. I don't wear as many hats as Whitney. I teach kindergarten.
But you're a freaking rock star, so you're wonderful.
I do rock it. And so this kind of came about. Initially, I had talked to some other educators and I said, hey, let's do a podcast about just funny things our kids say. And then later we can do a book about it. And then I guess initially it started with my ex principal. She works at a different building now. And when that move kind of came about, I had connected with Whitney previously. And I said, Whitney, you and I, let's do this now. And so it's been great having Whitney on. It's been a blessing. She is great on the tech side of things, more than I ever would be currently.
And so you guys are now the co-hosts of the Tough Teacher Talk podcast, and you can find that over at Tough Talk with Teachers. I'm going to try that one more time. toughtalkwithteachers.weebly.com. Talk to us a little bit about it. What is a tough teacher, and who do you talk to?
So essentially, education, we love it. Everybody who's in education for the most part is in it because they love the kids, they love the passion, and they have the drive. But on the other hand, there is tough stuff that we deal with, that our kids deal with, and just education as a whole. And so our goal is to kind of target those tough issues and then bring maybe a positive spin to it, a funny spin, or just some things to help make it not so horrible.
So it's about the tough conversations, not about the teachers that are tough.
Yeah, no, not about the teachers that are tough.
But we are tough to stick through the tough stuff we have to deal with. So It's tough on all aspects.
Being the father of 5-year-old triplets, anybody that teaches kindergarten has a tough and thick skin and is a friend of ours here over on TeacherCast. So you guys started the podcast in January of last year, 2018. Talk to us a little bit about your show. What can we expect? Is it the two of you guys talking? Do you guys bring guests on? What's the format all about?
Well, we've really fixed our format, honestly. We first started with just Whitney and I talking about a topic, and then we realized we were just kind of rehashing what we had said, and it just became repetitive. And so then we kind of went back and said, okay, let's come up with an outline, and then let's bring people on. So it's not necessarily just you and I sharing our ideas, but we're getting other aspects from somebody else who is in this profession who has dealt with this topic.
And so
And
how
just
did,
sorry.
go ahead.
It's just people with some knowledge base maybe that we don't have with our specific experiences too. Just giving different perspectives and shedding light on, just all of those different areas and those different, aspects of our profession.
I love that idea, and I love that you're doing this. So many people have turned, just like us here, so many people have turned to podcasting as a way of bringing their own professional development to themselves. If you can't go out and get it, bring it to you. And you guys certainly have been doing that. And, I see you guys are out on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're over on Weebly. Talk to us a little bit about how you guys create your show. What is the process of recording one of your episodes?
Go ahead, Whitney.
Okay. Well, Jonathan and I kind of text and Snapchat back and forth. And, if we're scrolling through Facebook or Twitter and we see like, oh, this is a cool article, we'll just kind of brainstorm back and forth. And then we do a lot. Most podcasts have some sort of show notes or way that they keep track of different things. And we basically use Google Keep. It's simple. It's quick. We're kind of a Google district where we're at. And we just kind of throw in topics. And then once we have a specific idea for a show, then we just kind of take that and create a new Post-it note in Google Keep and just list out the questions and the different things that we want to touch on. And then from there, we just kind of decide if we want to do that ourselves, if we want to connect with somebody else, bring somebody on, like an expert, and then just kind of go from there and use that as our guide.
What's your recording process?
Well, we usually send the questions out to our guests a few days beforehand, just so they have a chance to check those out and be prepared to answer those questions. We do let them know that, if time purposes, we might skip a question. We've tried to get local guests to just come in and sit with us, or we go to them and we just have a microphone. We just hook it up to our computer. We record through Audacity. And we're kind of dabbling in the audio editing area too. So that's been kind of a fun learning process, really, for me.
I love that you put it that way, because so many people look at audio editing and they go, this is a fun one to try to conquer. What have you learned so far about audio editing? Any tips and tricks you want to share?
Yes, I've learned how to amplify a little bit. So that's cool. I actually have a guy that is very familiar with a program like Audacity, and he's going to come and give me some pointers sometime, I believe, next week. And that'll be good because that's, we want the show to sound amazing. And we've also, Whitney and I have been watching a lot of YouTube videos on microphones and equipment that we can get better sound quality, not only through our Audacity, but just with using different equipment.
Nice. And I noticed that your website is on Weebly. Why create something on Weebly? Talk to us a little bit about your process, because I know something about you, Whitney. You said that you are a perfectionist. So talk to us a little bit about how all of this works together and kind of walk us through the website, because so many people here are trying to figure out what makes a good-looking website, but importantly, what makes a good podcasting website.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great question. So disclaimer, I kind of equate myself to Monica from Friends. I am very type A. I'm just not as mean as her, let's for sure. But I love her and I love that she's so organized, and I've definitely jumped on the Marie Kondo bandwagon, and my house is being overhauled right now. But so that transfers into my professional life, and I am a co-organizer for a big professional development and ed camp in our area that is hosted actually at my school as part of my coaching position. And with that, the other guy that helps organize that has used Weebly for that website. And so that's kind of how I got onto Weebly and why I just jumped on that one versus any other website or building process. And so I was like, all right, we'll just do that one for our website. And I had it up and going. I don't know, Jonathan, it was probably an hour.
Yeah, you sent me like a rough draft very, very quick.
And it was just one of those things. I got it up and going because I was like, I think we need this. Just to build a little bit more other than just Facebook and Twitter. And I wanted to showcase different aspects, especially that we're on different platforms such as, iTunes and Spotify and the Podbean app. And with that, I mean, I'm literally, if I get 5 or 10 minutes here or there, I'm trying to tweak it, trying to make it look a little bit better, or what kind of graphic can I pull in? And like yesterday I was messing with it and I was like, okay, it's a basic website. Like it's nothing that exciting. Like, what can I do to kind of bring the level up? And I was like, ooh, there's like this extension thing I can add on. And now I have our Twitter feed in there. So it shows like our last couple Twitter posts that we've had. And then I was like, ooh, and I was messing around on Podbean, which is where we host our podcast. And I was like, oh, you can embed this player. How cool is that? And again, just stumbling upon stuff, just messing around, tweaking with it. So I threw the embedding code onto the homepage, and Weebly is super user-friendly, especially if you are not very techy. I used to dabble in HTML when I was a kid, with a blog, back in the day, but I'm not comfortable with any of that anymore. Like that is not my jam, but I'm with Weebly. It's super easy. And I've jumped in and, you just learn how things work as you go.
And you can get started for free and you can make a really nice looking website pretty quickly.
For sure. They have some templates and things, and then you can tweak those templates. Obviously that's kind of what I did. I was like, and again, I had it up and going in an hour. And even if you are not super techie, probably even 2 hours, maybe at the most, and you're boom, done, ready to go. And then you just keep adding from there.
And, this is a good lesson for anybody out there starting to create their first podcasting website. You don't need to do anything fancy. You don't need to spend hundreds of hours on a website like I did. All you really need is to make something look clean, make it look neat. But most importantly, just have a place that has a play button on it, right? Like have a way for people to subscribe to your show, have a way for people to figure out where to find it, how to follow you guys. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Truth.
Whitney has been a tremendous help with, like I said, the technology end of things. She created that. She's like, we need to do this. She's listening to podcasts saying, we need to do these things. This is what I hear in podcasts that we need to do to be better. And I just can't even say enough about having Whitney as a partner.
So who do you listen to?
The Chalkboard. Oh my gosh.
Our Chock full of life, I think is. And then I also listen to like a lot of non-educational podcasts too. Like I've been on a Dave Ramsey kick too. And, there's one I've downloaded. I haven't started listening to it, but it's Marie Kondo-esque with Spark Joy, and then there's another one. I was just at the Midwest Educational Technology Conference in St. Louis last week. And there's one with instructional coaches from across Missouri, and they're the EdTech Pod Squad, and they're awesome. They do a monthly podcast and they cover a bunch of different topics in just like a half an hour. It's phenomenal.
I love the fact that there are almost 700,000 shows. If you're looking for anything out there, there's probably a podcast for it. And you know what, guys? If you don't see a topic that interests you, create your own, right? Like this is all stuff that you can do for free. This is professional development that you can bring in for you. I love the idea that if you have a microphone in front of you, then that makes you an expert in anything. And if you're listening to these shows that we're putting out here on educational podcasting today, because you're sitting here saying, I would love to try this, my advice to you is just simply jump right in. I mean, Whitney, what do you tell people if they say, hey, how are you doing this? Can I try this thing too?
Heck yes. Jonathan and I are all, like, we jumped in, knee deep or neck deep, whatever that saying is. And we're messing up as we go. Like you learn through your failures and your screw ups.
Now, you said that you're a perfectionist on the website. I'm curious, how has your podcast shifted? I know you kind of said earlier that it's evolved a little bit as, because you've been doing it for a year or so now, but how have you guys felt that you've grown as podcast hosts in the last year?
We've just, just the format of our show. It's more organized. We're bringing in outside sources of other experts. Just working together as a team, really, even just building off of each other has been tremendous. And we have so many different connections that we've both been able to bring in with this, now that we've kind of had more time to grow and evolve and realize, oh my gosh, we have all these connections, that we can bring these connections onto our show and really increase, I guess, our the knowledge for others and ourselves even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Like through our local ed camp, we made a connection with a marketing, she's not really marketing, but someone who works with a local bookstore, and we were able to kind of partner with her for ed camp. But then we were able now on the podcast front, she was like, how can I get involved? How can I help? And so we kind of have some big things coming up in the next month and a half with some giveaways and some different things that without her, like, that wouldn't be possible. So that's really cool. And, just Jonathan and I feeding off of each other is another big component. Like, he gets excited about something and I'm like, whoa, that's super cool. All right, let's do this, or let's do that, or vice versa. Like, and it just keeps building, and that excitement and that energy just keeps going.
I love the fact here that, you guys have a ton of energy, and your show, as you said, is always a work in progress. And that's so hard for new podcasters to think about every show is going to get better. Every show is going to get, one step on top of each other. Where do you see your show in 6 months?
Well, I know we're shooting for releasing once a week.
Okay.
So hopefully that can become reality. I know we've been working really hard on coming up with topics, and then getting people to come on and record with us. So I think once we get a format down pat and we know upcoming topics, I think we'll really start cranking them out.
What are some of the hot topics these days?
Well,
data.
Yeah.
That's one that I have a couple of really cool, interesting ways to kind of cover that. And I don't want to give it away or anything, but it'll be an interesting take because, data is the new 4-letter cuss word in education. So,
another one is teachers working second jobs, second, third, fourth jobs. And I know we've got 2 really awesome educators that are willing to come on and do a part 2 of side hustles with us.
It's that is certainly and unfortunately a heavy topic. Now that we're sitting here and we've had multiple teacher strikes, and we're about to have one more in the country over the next few days here. The idea of having to make a side hustle, that those are tough conversations to have with people.
For sure. And I think just, our experiences, like the just different things that we're coming up with, like, and different things that we're seeing in our classrooms. And, now that I'm working in this instructional technology component, but I'm still a classroom teacher, like there's different things like tech wise or special ed wise. I would like to touch upon those. And, Jonathan uses tech in his classroom too with his students. And I think there's a lot of different things that we can touch on that maybe others have not looked at it in the same way.
Such as what?
So I think that'll be, well, right now, like it's really cool in my career readiness class. I'm working on a project-based learning activity with them, and it'll probably take us a month or 2 months. But basically the students are using the 3D printer to create products, which they're going to sell, and they're going to have to market them and different things. And so I'm pulling in different aspects, not just the 3D printer or the software that goes along with it, but how we're going to market it. Are we going to use social media? And it's all going to be student led versus me saying, hey, let's do this, this, and this, and I'm going to feed off of their ideas and just kind of be their guide versus, their instructor or teacher.
I like that idea.
Whitney, brag about, I know you shared on Facebook what one of your students created already. That was pretty amazing.
I'm so floored and so blown away by what he did. And he's a senior in high school and, going to graduate in a couple of months. And I didn't know how this class was going to take this project. And he was one I was a little like, he might get into it, he might not, but he actually was like, all right, I want to do keychains. Cause I said, maybe I would like you guys to design 3 different products. And cause I have a very small class, and so he took, he was like, okay, I'm going to do keychain. I'm going to do this design, but I'm going to make it a screw top so you can unscrew it and screw in a different keychain and you can change them out. And I don't think he fully understands how marketable that would be and how much more product he would sell or he will sell, because people are going to want to change those out and put in different things and have multiple keychains. And I'm like, that's brilliant. It's fantastic. He just blew my mind on that.
And how did he, that was all 3D printed, or what was the way of manufacturing that?
Well, yeah, they're still in the creating process. They're supposed to finish that tomorrow. Actually, it'd be done with creating their product. They're working on Tinkercad on the internet and design those. But so he's just like, he's super engaged. And normally the student, kind of is a little unmotivated, and he is just taking this torch and running with it. And I love it.
That's awesome, right? Like when, as the tech coach too, like when you're working with teachers who then help their students and you just kind of see that learning grow together, that is absolutely awesome. And I just want to bring this around one more time here, that if you're out there and you're looking to create a podcast for yourself, reach out to any of us out there that are creating podcasts. There's of course a lot of great resources that we have over here on educational podcasting today, but where can people go to find out more about the great things that you guys are doing and reach out for you guys if they have any questions?
Well, we're on Twitter it's at Tough Teacher, and it's TLK because they didn't give us enough characters. So that's our podcasting Twitter. And then my personal Twitter is and then it's the word Mr. with a capital M, and then my last name Compas, but with 1 S, not 2. Nice.
And of course, we're going to have all of the links over there. Whitney, where do we find you?
We are also on Facebook, the podcast. It's at Tough Teacher TLK. And then my Twitter handle is at Choate Notes, CHOATE. And then our website is, toughtalkwithteachers.weebly.com.
And of course, we have all of our links and stuff in our show notes over here. This is Educational Podcasting, episode number 41. We want to know from you guys if you have any great podcasting questions. If you're looking to bring a show in, or if you're just looking to redesign your website, we've got some great things over on educationalpodcasting.today. And if you're looking to bring podcasting into your classrooms, check out our brand new channel, podcastingwithstudents.com. That's podcastingwithstudents.com. Learn all the tips and tricks for how you guys can create your own podcast. Guys, before we go, is there any last words of advice that you guys have out there for any teacher or tech coach interested in bringing podcasting into the classroom?
I will say for me, I haven't really brought it in the classroom, but for me personally, this has been a great reflective tool too, because when we're talking to these experts, these outside experts about topics, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. I want to do that in my classroom. Or I realize I am doing some of those things. It's just something I haven't thought about until I begin that discussion out loud.
I love the idea of self-discovery. So yeah, and even after 8 years, like every single time we do a show or every time I put out a post, you're always learning something new about yourself.
And I would just have to say, I can't take credit for this quote because I heard it from somebody at this conference last week, and I'm doing it right now with my students with 3D printing, but you don't have to be an expert to jump in. Learn as you go. It's okay to fail, whether it's your students, doing that, or if it's you yourself. So, that goes with podcasting or with anything. Just go for it. Jump in.
First attempt in learning, right?
Exactly.
And we set the example for our kids, right? You got to show them it's okay to fail.
And on that note, I don't think I could say anything that's going to be better than that. Check it out. The Tough Teacher, I'm saying this again, Tough Talk with Teachers podcast. You can find out over at toughtalkwithteachers.podbean.com, or you can also check out toughtalkwithteachers.weebly.com. All the show notes are going to be over in our website over at Educational Podcasting Today. This is episode number 41, and I want to say thank you guys out there for making TeacherCast a home for your professional development. And on behalf of everybody here in the TeacherCast Educational Network, my name is Jeff Bradbury. My voice is going, guys. Wow. On behalf of everybody here in the TeacherCast Educational Network, take care of the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with your students.